Morning E-Dirt, and welcome to what looks like a very early autumn as well. Kind of dawned on us this weekend. Looks like we might have been finished with the rains, and now that little nips in the air when I was out training this morning was a bit fresh, I can tell you that right now. So this is touching my soul nicely, as they say. Right, let's talk about what happened this weekend. Very cool, actually, for a racing weekend. We had the Lowveld Enduro Club, had Casterbridge. It's always a classic race venue for those guys to go up there and get the job done. And they are really putting together some incredible races. For the last few years, they've been some of the toughest enduros on the scene. And the man to beat up there has always been Dwayne Clenhams. Really has made himself the king of those races. But unfortunately, coming off an injury that he picked up last weekend or the weekend before down at Cape Town. In fact, it was the weekend before down in Cape Town. Just tried to tough it out, but couldn't power through the injuries. So another one of those riders that we're going to have to keep an eye on and see if he can actually recover from the injuries to get himself ready for the next round of the National Enduros at the end of this month, which is the big Winterberg down at Port Elizabeth. That said, though, it meant that Barent Erasmus, who's played bridesmaid a lot of times to Dwayne at these events particularly, he went on and took his first big win of the season, so that's very cool for him. And Moritz Merian as well. He ran a close number 2 with our very own Lawrence Mahoney, king of the GXCCs, coming up there and just putting in some time, spent some time up there with his family while he was up there for Easter. Thought he might as well swing a leg over the enduro bike, got the job done, made it onto the box 3rd place. So very, very cool for that. On the high school and the junior category, as far as that goes, Ryan Peltzer, he's had an up and down start to the season, gets himself back onto the top of the box and takes the win in the high schools, beating out Heinrich Aust. Those two are the big wars that are happening at off-road and enduros. So it's fun to watch how the kids are going to be playing out the season. What else happened this weekend? It was the next round of the Botswana National Championship Race Series, and that was at Juneng. Now, Juneng is the host town for the desert race once again this year. So Gideon Jacobs, Captain CrossFit we call him, took the big KTM up there, smashed the competition on the quads. So that's very cool for him. And on the bikes, it was Vinny Crosby. He's been joining us for a couple of rounds of the GXCCs, but really his goal is all about Dakar again. It looks like he's building himself up to either another crack at Dakar 2019 or 2020, but he walked away with the big win on the bikes. So that was very cool. And that's pretty much what went down as far as the off-road and enduro goes. On motocross, it was the next round of the National Motocross Championships, and that was at Thunder Valley down at PMB. Very, very cool event. A lot of guys have been making noise about it, and it was really the Husqvarna guys that just hammered the nail. Caleb Tennant and Matty Milan just wiped the floor with the competition. The start of the season has been all about the Yamaha boys with Goosen and Purdon, your defending title holders in the MX1s and MX2s. It looks like the sway and the swing has gone back to Husqvarna, so great ride coming out of Matty Milan and Caleb Tennant walking away with the big cheese. So what else is going on in the rest of the racing month of April? Because March and April are busy bangers, as I said. I'm going to need a little bit more go-go juice to get through this one. Okay, hang in there with me because here we go. This coming weekend, round number 3 of the GXCC Tour, Bapsfontein. That's a brand new venue for all of us. No one really knows what's going to be around the bend, but what we do know is we're going into a tiebreaker scenario. Remember, there are 7 rounds of the GXCC series. We've already done 1 and 2. This is round number 3. And why I'm bringing that up is it's an incredible point to make on this episode of Hollywood Hills that there has not been a double winner across most of the categories, at least. Some of the junior categories, yes, there's been repeat winners. Some of the lady categories, yes, they've been winners. But on the pro main gates, this is how it broke down. Round number 1 in the OR1s went to Kenny Gilbert. Round number 2 went to JC Nienaber. Okay, so those are the big bangers going out the gate. Round number 1 in the OR2s went to a new upstart coming from motocross and warrior racing, so you know he's hard as nails, JJ Daisel. Very cool to see some new blood as well. And round number 2, back into the mix, Taki, after he got picked up by the Pepson Plastics factory Husqvarna squad. OR3s, Flanny came swinging hard. He took round number 1. Round number 2 blew his bike up. Round number 2 win went to Stefan van Deventer, the new pickup on the Alfie Cox KTM racing squad. On the 125 high school category, round number 1 went to a brand new kid as well, Low Pretorius, riding out of Vans Racing on the Husky. And round number 2 went to Nardis Robbie. Still no win on the GXCC Tour for Ryan Peltzer, but he's definitely going to be gunning for this one, and he wants to get his name on the top of the pile. He's looking good in the championship standings, but he needs to get that win going. Also, when you look at the senior categories as well, senior men, it was Bruce Viljoen, the defending champion, that took the win in race number 1, round number 1. But at round number 2, coming back from injuries after having that big head-on crash at the round just 1 week before of the National Championship Race Series, meant he was not really full fit, and that meant the other Bruce May, on the Yamaha factory squad, walked away with his first win of the season. In the Masters category, Wayne Farmer came swinging out the gate hard, took round number 1, and round number 2 went to Peter Hull. So for all of these categories that I've just mentioned there, round number 3 is a big tiebreaker, and it's going to be an interesting story to see who can win round number 3 and therefore control the championship going into the halfway marker of the season. Also on the quads, round number 1 went to Russell Ferreira, round number 2 went to Gideon Jacobs. So this is also going to be a tiebreaker situation. That's in the Q1s to see if there can be a new winner who possibly could be Keenan Hammond. So those are the stories that we're going to watch out for this weekend, which makes things very, very exciting. And we will be reporting back from the GXCC tours next week. That's going to be a big highlight on Hollywood Hills. After the GXCCs, we start looking a little bit higher up the curve, the Northwest Province, in fact, and that's where the guys from the Off-Road Africa Racing Series are running their championship. 12 rounds as well, and we do see a couple of names going up there. I know we've got Pierre Joubert, who races on the Honda Quad. He does very, very well at these kind of events, as well as the Lindsay brothers and Vanno Delport. He's doing very well on this tour as well. So that's the Camille 200, and that's the week after. I think it's the 21st or 22nd. And then after that, we start eyeing up the prize, and that's round number 2. That's come around really quickly as well. Round number 2 of the National Enduro Championships, and the classic race venue of Port Elizabeth, the Rover Club and the Winterberg. Now last year, this saw the biggest entry of any race and biggest spectatorship of any race on the National Enduro Tour. So I'm trying my very best to get down there so we can cover that. And it was this weekend last year where Mike Glover actually put his ice event on the Sunday, making sure that he had all the riders down there in PE. So I'm going to be chatting to Mike this week to find out if he's going to be doing the same kind of thing. After that, we start eyeing up May, and May starts out wild. May, we go down in the first racing week to the Koa Bokkeveld, and that's a classic race venue down in Cape Town. Now, the opening round of the National Off-Roads down at KZN wasn't really a great off-road. It was more a mixture of hare scrambles and enduros, but from history, we know the Koa Bokkeveld is always a classic standard option off-road. Some of the most beautiful terrain you'll ride in off-road in the country as well. So we're expecting to see some good results. There is a clash as far as the dates go. The guys are running the bikes and the cars on the same date, so I won't be going down to Cape Town. Save me a few bucks as well. But I'm going to be going to Dundee for round number 2 of the National Off-Road Cars. Oh, that reminds me as well. I got picked up by the guys from SA Rally. So the weekend after the GXCCs, I'm actually going to the York Rally. I'm very excited about that as well, because the guys from the rally scene approached me last year. They wanted to work with me, but there's not a lot of cheese there. They've gone kind of like rolled back from the S2000s, that's 4-wheel drives, to the 1600 front-wheel drives, and those are the guys that are racing in the championship. But it looks like rally's on the way up, and that's a fun thing that I'm going to be involved in. I go straight from Sabi to Polokwane for a cycle tour, so I'm going to be absolutely toasted by the end of April, but a very, very exciting racing month. And we're going to sign off by saying we will see you guys all at the GXCCs in Bapsfontein. Super exciting, round number 3, and like I said, that's going to be what we'll focus on next week for Hollywood Hills. A big thanks to Ryan Wilkins from Polysport. He's just uncrated a ton of new stuff, sent me a couple of rock and roll pictures. So if you guys are maybe getting a little bit tired of the look of your bikes at the moment, remember, we've just finished the first racing quarter of the year, 3 months in already. See if your plastics are looking decent. If you need to replace anything, go see the guys from Polysport or all of their representatives around. Also, the guys from Beta, they're still banging out all of their specials, blowing out the 2017s and getting the 2018s. And do watch out, because it looks like they're going to have a little bit more placement at some of the events that we'll be going to as well. And the guys from Holeshot, still absolutely rocking their helmet special. Go check it out. We'll see you guys later. Our buddies over here at Holeshot have got some incredible specials running at the moment. EVS helmets, they are stocked up to the gills, and they are pretty much blowing them out at 50% off. On the EVS T5 helmets, they're selling at 950 rands. That's under 1,000 rand. That is insane. And the EVS T7 helmets running at 1450, just under 15. So get across to Holeshot, they will hook you up.